Thank you, Mary. Co-host Mary. What's your t-shirt say? Can't see it.
Drink water, love hard, fight racism.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
Very good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mission Dharma Online. Welcome back to the world, Stephanie.
Thank you.
We'll wait just a few moments to let people drift in, then we'll officially begin. Okay, I think we've hit the moment of truth. So welcome, everyone. Happy to be back with you. Love to see as many cameras on and as many as are willing to say hello to each other, where you're calling in from, just to warm up the atmosphere so it doesn't have that bizarre deadness that often is a feature of online groups. So hello from Sausalito. Happy to be with you. Please feel free to unmute and say hello yourself and say
Hi from San Francisco.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hi from Berkeley.
Hi from San Francisco.
Hi from San Francisco.
Hi from San Francisco.
Hi from Burlingame.
Hey, David.
Hi from San Francisco.
Hey, Mark. I didn't see you, but I can hear you.
Hi from Oakland.
Hi from San Francisco.
Hello from the Canadian prairies of Saskatchewan.
Hey, Janet. Glad to have you with us.
Hi, Howie.
Edmonton.
Dan
Hello.
from San Rafael.
Sorry.
Hey, Dan. Look at
John
Dan.
in Boulder.
Where is Boulder? Oh, John in Boulder. Great. Welcome, John. Dan is bathing in summer light.
Anne-Marie from Richmond.
Hey, Anne-Marie.
Mary
Nice
from
to-
Richmond.
Thank you again, Mary, and great to see you, Anne-Marie, at the Rock over last week. So,
Christopher, also from the Richmond.
hey, Christopher.
Madison from San Francisco.
Hey, Madison. Nice to see you today.
Angela in San Francisco.
Angela, great to see you.
Jason from Connecticut.
Hello, Jason. Thanks for bringing the East Coast here. I heard Helen, I think.
Oakland, yes.
Welcome.
Mary from Santa Barbara. Hi.
Hey, Mary. Good to see you. Okay.
David from Maui.
Hey, David. Where is David? I don't see David. Anyway, oh, there you are. Glad to see you. Bring the aloha spirit here. Hey, Laura, you popping in?
Hi, Howie. Lori from Tucson.
Who is calling from Tucson? I missed that.
You're not going to be able to see me. I'm
Oh,
blocked
Lori
out.
from Tucson, and I see
Thank you.
Elizabeth from Scottsdale or Phoenix.
Elizabeth, yeah, from Phoenix. Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth. Well, with this much goodwill and this much consciousness surrounding at least North America, We should at least be planting some wholesome seeds here. Or another way of saying it, it's not all bad. There are beautiful things happening in this world, and one of them is getting a chance to meet and celebrate the living Dharma. You know, how the power of being awake, coming out of the tangle of our usual preoccupations and feeling the aliveness and simplicity, the uncomplicated nature of the present moment, and be supported by other people who value this sense of intimacy and immediacy with life right where it touches us, whose lives are not so bound up in where we've been or where we're going, but much more immersed in that living present. So much so that present time, hopefully, and I imagine you wouldn't keep practicing unless present time has become compelling enough that you're not so worried about what's next, and you want to appreciate your life right where you find yourself. So that is in some ways the invitation, the promise of practice, is that we can not postpone our sense of well-being, that we can recover it on the spot and find in us a well-being that doesn't depend on the ever-changing display, ever-changing circumstances that are sometimes really difficult, sometimes really pleasurable. But there is a place in us that is unaffected by all of that. And we find that in the awareness through which we're perceiving in you, as that fundamental sense of your nature, the nature to be aware. So let's just close our eyes as we often do. And since Madison is with us tonight, this is Madison's gong. It's Madison who recommended that we start our Tuesday nights online with the gong. And I appreciate that. And of course, that gong helps us empty our mind of its usual obsessions, fixations, and wakes us up to where we are. So let your eyes close softly. And before you do anything other than to just notice what happens when the eyes close. Of course, you'll instantly become aware of your sensations of sitting in the dark with the eyes closed, the darkening. And your body will likely feel less like a body and more like a field of sensations and vibrations and sense of aliveness. Now that you're here, now that your attention is a little more close in proximity to your sitting body, just notice if there's any area of tension. And in whatever way you know how to just let it be, let it go, just let it be as it is. And while you're at it, just let your whole body drop to the floor, be absorbed by the earth element. Feel that heaviness. Let the cohesive feeling of the earth element and the water that we feel as a body, let it center us. Let us help us come to that single point that helps us connect with everything. Gathering here, sustaining our attention, the feeling of our sitting body. And without any direction or control of the breath, noticing how our body breathes. Noticing our body breathes short breaths and long breaths and rough breaths and smooth breaths, deep and shallow. We just notice how our body is breathing, how it breathes itself. In this way, we realize the truth of selflessness. We don't have to wait until some great realization. We can see it in the simple, unbidden experience of our body breathing. You can actually see where identity starts to take over and try to control it. And we, again and again, we just let go. Let the body breathe. Just enjoy receiving, feeling the body's experience of its own breath. And notice that the byproduct of this gathering and sustaining is that there's a settling, a quieting, an emptying. Just a reminder that we did not quiet our minds and we did not quiet our bodies. We just attended to our bodies, and the byproduct is just more harmony, more quiet. So just don't let your mind leave your body. Just hang out here. With your full attention centered in the body and breath. And you'll notice that sounds come and moods come and thoughts come. They also come unbidden. They're also thoughts of their own thinkers, moods of their own feelers. Hearing is known, but no one who hears. In this way we realize the Dharma. It's just happening. No need to be so identified, thinking it's me and mine. It's just experience. Magical display. Each experience welcomed. No experience clung to as me or mine. We let everything go, as it will. Just this moment. Just this breath. Soft and receptive. Just a reminder that when you realize you've been lost in thought, just drifting in habitual mind, fantasy, planning, it's actually a moment of mindfulness, coming back online, making it possible to know where you are. And so once you've awakened to where you are, just in support of remaining anchored to the living reality, we feel our body again. Notice how it's breathing. Breath by breath, we guide ourselves back to a calm abiding without trying to calm anything, without trying to quiet anything, just being aware, supported by the body and breath. Just this moment. is there awareness right now? What are you aware of? What's the attitude of mind? Or is you welcoming the presently arising experience? Trying to make something happen, resisting? Just know the present experience and the attitude of mind. Just this moment. Just this body and breath or whatever is predominant. when you hear the sound of the gong, just be aware of hearing. Perhaps you'll notice the little feeling tone that arises, whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, somewhere in between. And after you've heard the fading of the sound, experienced it, you feel the impulse to open the eyes. Notice that intention and the experience of opening your eyes. The arising of outer sight, of seeing. Perhaps you'll notice the feeling tone associated with seeing. Pleasant, unpleasant, neither pleasant or unpleasant. You may feel the impulse to make other movements. Notice that about to or intention, and then notice the movement. So the practice continues continuously. Formal, informal, everything equal in the light of attention. Pleasure sitting with all of you as always. So much gratitude and appreciation for good company and opportunity to remind myself, remind you of the way things are, valuing just the way it is right now. For at least a little while, not being so caught up in where I've been or where I'm going. Just able to settle in, experience the Dharma just the way it is right now. So thank you. I'm curious what happened for you during this sitting. Any questions came up, any comments, descriptions, topics, some topic that may have emerged. And I invite anyone to feel free to speak and use the raised hand function wherever it happens to be on your computer. And know that whatever topic, comment, question that you might have will be useful to someone else. So part of our practice of dana, of generosity. Is there anything that popped up? Matt, please feel free. Thanks for breaking the ice.
It's not, yeah, thank you. Yeah, what I felt I felt a lot of agitation, um, and a lot of discomfort. And so I've tried to use my breath as the anchor and try to, I guess, abide with the discomfort and try to abide with the arising and passing. It just seemed like maybe this time there was more arising of discomfort than passing.
Well, were you trying to dwell in the arising and passing in order for it to go away, or?
It's entirely possible, yeah.
So, in general, of course, that we have entire sittings, we have days, we have periods that are unpleasant to profoundly unpleasant, and the way we're conditioned is we tend to compound that by reacting to it with some degree of aversion and some wish for it to be otherwise. And so at least before we try to massage the situation, use any particular strategy, we first open to it just as you described, and that's a beautiful thing, but not in order for it to go away, because inherent in that is I don't like it. But if there is an I don't like it, which is also something that comes because we're conditioned to not like the unpleasant, that we include that in the meditation too. So, and in fact, it's the physical discomfort is one moment to be noticed, and the not liking it and trying to make it better is another moment to be noticed. And we just keep being available to the whole sequence of different experiences. And then you realize in the course of noticing the reactions, the feeling, that it's not just this unpleasant experience that's happening. It's many, many different things happening. And there may be just a breath happening, then there may be a sound, and then maybe the unpleasant body experience again. There may be the not liking. All of it is the practice. And generally, and I'm saying this for everyone, you know this, in whatever sneaky form we pay attention to something in order for it to change, it knows, and it will just entrench itself it'll just create some internal tension and last longer. So sometimes we have to just kind of love the way it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for giving voice to what many people experience from time to time in their practice. I'm sure no one else had unpleasant sensations. Mark, are you trying to?
I'm trying to figure out where the raised hand function
Well,
was.
you don't have to. You can just,
It's
I
weird.
saw the hand go up, so feel free.
Well, I found something interesting happening. I don't know why it's taken me 30 years, but I found that instead of breathing, instead of it being my breathing, I was just noticing it and I was following it. It wasn't me doing it.
Exactly.
And that was a little different than I usually experience it. So
Great. That's what's going on 99% of the time when we're not meditating. However, when there is a tendency when meditating to, once there is a noticing the breath, there's a tendency to think that there's a breather, somebody doing it. And so the identity often gets in the way a little bit. But that's part of our conditioning, just like with Matt, and we just try to notice that. And then every time you notice that you're trying to help it along, then it's a moment, it's like a little gong that goes off and says, no, just notice it, don't do it. Just let the breath breathe itself.
okay.
Great, thank you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you, Howie.
Madison, you did have your hand up, but maybe you gave up. You have to unmute though.
Yeah, thanks, Howie.
And
No, I
then-
was going to say, I developed a stress-related physical condition where ironically, I was told that meditation might be a good idea. And my idea of meditating is to do it when I feel like it at the times that it happens, which is not what was recommended by the doctor when they said, hey, you better look into it. So I thought, okay, I'm sitting here. I've given up something else I would normally do on Tuesday, and I'm ready, and I'm now, darn it. Let's have it all calm down. And it didn't. And so it was a little bit of what the first guy said, that I was sitting there noticing, okay, so fine, I'm not relaxed and I am thinking, but I think that I still have the pressure, like, oh, now I really have to do it. And instead I've been trying to remind myself that I can do it anytime. I can take a moment anytime
Anytime. Well
during
said.
the day. I don't have to be in a meditation group, but I do have to remember, like, to do it. And when I do it, it still feels like I'm expecting, and maybe this is the question, like an instant remedy. Like, okay, I've done it. I've given up one of my valuable minutes of worrying and thinking, and let's give this a result on the road, and that doesn't quite work.
No, thank you. No, it does not work. I think I've lost you because I don't know what happened, but Nancy, you might have to put yourself on mute. Y-
I
Okay,
just muted her. Yeah, she's fine.
okay, Madison, let me find you again. No, I think you are wise to your impulses, and that's ideally when we see that we're doing something, as Alan Watts would call, like we're doing it because it's good for us, or as he called it, a grim duty, self-punishment, or whatever. Just have some laden it with too much meaning, too much importance. It's like a meal that you ate and you're sorry you ate it. So it gets a little too heavy and too serious. So it's really about getting to know the present experience. It's not about fixing or managing or figuring out. It just turns out that the byproduct of having your attention present with whatever's there in a more continuous way, generally in the body, wherever you are, completely portable, when that is made into a habit in a way, the byproduct is you just have a little bit more ease and more happiness. It's just one of those byproducts. But it's very easy for practice to get mixed up with fixing or shoulds. We should on ourselves. Anyway, thanks for speaking up. I think you gave voice to what others experience. So Miriam, please feel free.
Hi, Howie. Yeah. Well, the reason I'm in bed is I've got a pretty bad case of COVID.
Oh, so
Um,
sorry.
But all day, my mind, it's like I've been racing around, and it's like I should be resting, but I've been racing. And then I'm sitting here, I thought, well, God, I can get on the call tonight and do the meditation. And as I was meditating, it's like, oh my God, my mind is just racing. It's like, well, that's no surprise. It's been doing all day, right? And then I noticed it was planning mind. It's like, I guess that's what I'm distracting myself with, is planning mind. So I just make all these plans. I'm sitting here. And the thing that really brought me back at the very end, when you were saying to just notice the feeling tones, and it's like, all of a sudden that just got me back. Oh, how does it feel to be in planning mode, racing around, like having my mind spinning? It's like not good. I need to rest, right?
So happy you
anyway,
tuned into that. And ideally, if you're able to be aware of what your mind is doing, then the wisdom that's embedded in being aware usually operates on it a little bit, and it becomes then a cause to let go a little bit. But hopefully, sometimes that first insight, not that it's your first insight into the busy mind or the planning mind, but often when you see that racing mind, there's a tendency to personalize it and judge it, and actually make it into a problem instead of, the mind is busy tonight.
Oh, lovely.
Or the reflection, racing around all day. But I love that you lit on the feeling tone, because that's often when we actually see that that the effect of whatever our habit is somewhat unpleasant. There's a tendency to have that be the cause of not feeding it. Anyway, hope you feel better. You know, I don't know where you are in your COVID thing, but I know that COVID, for some people, it's somewhat dysregulating to the nervous system. So there's a tendency to get a little bit racy. And so that's sometimes a COVID byproduct, but who knows? Anyway, hope you feel better. Any last comments, questions? Lori, please feel free. Last. And then Ajala, we'll do 2 more. Go ahead, Lori. Except you have to unmute.
Got it. Sorry.
There you are.
I've been meditating for a while, but I always had a lot of body meditation. First of all, I want to tell you, I really appreciate that you at least do a 40-minute meditation, because it takes me a long time before I am able to relax, and monkey mind can go on. But it seems to just be mostly in the neck and in the face and in the nasal and going up now. And I'm hoping it's just rising to go out.
Of course, we all want to feel easier, more relaxed in our body, but the practice tells us not to wait until it goes out.
Oh no!
To find a sense of relief.
Yeah, I've seen it go out of other parts of me in long meditations, but in the short, I can just feel the jaw relaxing, the neck, and then the face, and then you feel it up.
Right.
And I just wonder how it manifests that way.
Well, usually what rises into our consciousness is things that are happening all the time in general, but we don't notice it as intimately and subtly. And so we call that kind of pain, we call it Dharma pain, because it's the kind that shows up, and it might not be so obvious when we're not quiet and attentive.
So is it just a tightness in those areas?
It may be some kind of holding, it may be some kind of habit. So just the frequent visiting of your body all day long with attention will probably protect you a little bit from building up those kinds of chronic tensions.
And once again, for the 40 minutes, I used to lead sits, and I always had them 30 minutes, even though I was told to do it 20, because it took me 30 minutes.
Yeah. It does take a while to settle in, but what the teachings and what I try to point to is that we don't want to associate whether the practice is good or not based on how long we sit or getting to a particular place. Because as long as we want to get to a place of quiet or relaxation, it conditions our mind to be happy if we get there, and slightly less happy if we don't. And we want a sense of well-being that doesn't depend on whether we get relaxed or not, because some sittings are just not relaxed. And sometimes the most unrelaxed sitting is actually a sign that the practice is deepening. It's often the fruit of having been quiet at another time or relaxed it often functions like a vacuum, and then you'll notice other kinds of tension. So the tendency.
Wouldn't you want to keep on sitting until?
No, you just keep inviting whatever it is that's there. The byproduct over the long time is there will be more relaxation. But we don't ever try to relax ourselves too much.
No, I just try and make it move.
Yeah, we don't try to make anything move.
Yeah.
Either. We just try to notice what is presenting itself. We use our body, its moods, its thoughts, its tensions. We use it just to help anchor our attention to the present moment, and then learn about the nature of our mind and body. We don't try to get to a particular place.
But the body sensations, don't you want to work with the body sensations?
No, you want to work with them only to invite them to be exactly the way they are and not try to alter them in any way.
Yeah.
And to see that every body sensation, we try to see the common characteristics in every experience, that they come and they go. Sometimes they get stronger, sometimes they get weaker, sometimes they morph into other sensation. That's what they do or how they do it. That's none of our business. It's just to train our attention to be able to meet those experiences with a complete non-reactive mind. Mindfulness doesn't care what the sensations do. Mindfulness has no agenda other than to notice. So that's different than our usual project of getting someplace, opening something, fixing something, healing something. Those things are all wonderful, but that's not what the practice of mindfulness is about. It's about just noticing. And the potential for wisdom, understanding to arise. The byproduct is a lot more relaxation though. So, but the attempt to relax actually causes tension. Sorry to overdo this, but.
No, it's not the attempt to relax. It's the intention to just let it go. You don't attend
The intention to let it go says, I'll be happier when it lets go. And that's that's a trick of our mind. It's actually, that's a kind of greed in the mind. It's a kind of clinging.
Greed and
yeah.
Got it.
Anyway, good luck. Just don't believe what I say. Just ponder it a little bit. Ajala, last but not least. Sorry, Mary, we're not going to be able to.
Okay,
Ajala, please.
Hi, I just want to quickly announce I'm so proud of myself because I'm meditating every day. Not that I'm counting or anything, but for over 5 weeks.
Fantastic.
I know, and I can't believe it. I think I'm developing a habit, and and it's almost like I couldn't force that. It was just time. I don't know. I've been dipping my toe here mostly for about 30 years, I'd say. And I'm super grateful to you for your teachings because I really feel like you've helped me learn how to meditate. And I got to a level of anxiety about 5 weeks ago that I've had many times with anxiety, but and for whatever reason, I was just started to do some meditations while I was waiting for someone in the car, and then just kept doing it every day since then. And I feel like I'm developing a habit where I'm actually craving it. And like what Madison was saying, it's hard to know, when to do it. I'm not really good at the rituals or doing it at a specific time, but I seem to find time every day. And I think about, it comes to me and I want to do it and I find time. And yeah, I can't believe it. After 30 years, I feel like I'm starting to do it every day, which I've always wanted to do. And I've always been talking about it for decades. So
thrilled for you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
That's so great. And yeah, it's hard you can't push that. But for some reason, when you said finding time for it, it just reminds me of that teacher somebody went to them and said, I just don't have time to meditate. And I don't have time to sit for a half hour. That was what the person said. And the teacher said, then sit for an hour. Make the time. Anyway, glad you're doing it. And I'm sure that the byproduct of that is perhaps a little bit more ease and a little bit less time focused on what's next. And more
I'm really noticing how there is a tendency to want, like Madison was there, somebody was saying, like, just want to have it be have something change and have it be helpful and have it, and I'm just letting it be what it is.
Great. That's,
I mean, I do have a hope that it will, over time do
oh,
something.
of course, of course, of course.
I'm still
That's
having
natural, but
plenty of
I mean,
stress. Yeah.
well, the Dalai Lama does speak very positively about the effects of meditation, but he says you shouldn't evaluate whether it's improving except over 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
Or we can say 30.
I feel committed. I'm committed. I'm determined. I'm in it for
Great.
the long haul. So yeah.
Great. Thank you. Glad you're here. Okay, well, Mary, sorry I couldn't get to your wonderful voice. You always add wisdom to our circle, but
That's okay.
what did you say, Mary? Uh-oh, she's frozen. And she's also not Mary, Mission Dharma, Mary.
I just had one sentence I just wanted to share.
Please.
So,
Go ahead.
well, I just
We're having
forgot how to
technical difficulties.
always calls that to the first gentleman, breath breathing you. Sorry.
Oh, breath breathing.
I don't know what's happening. Okay.
Yeah, you're having some
Don't worry
technical. Anyway, we'll catch it another time. Thanks, Mary. Anyway, let's just let.
That was it. That was all.
I couldn't hear it. I'm sorry to say. Anyway, we'll let there be a momentary pause in our almost 40-year conversation. So maybe let's see if we'll mute you for right now. I'm not sure how this happened today, but I happened to tune into the rally that took place in Philadelphia with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And I was very intent on really tuning into them and what they were saying and how they were saying it. And their joy, you could say positivity, their goodness, their compassion. It was so palpable that I felt as though I got a transmission. The content, not as important as the quality of being. And for some reason, it became a trigger to the reminder that our minds, I guess maybe because of the contrast between some of the public figures who have just kind of a heavy dystopian negativity, it was such a joyous thing to see an expression of almost like honoring how amazing we are as human beings, how amazing we can be as a community. Someone who's demonstrating and giving, almost saying, human beings are incredible. We have consciousness, we have minds, we have hearts. And depending on what you do with that heart and mind, depending on what you frequently dwell upon or focus on, makes the world either a joyous place or makes it a place of ill will and hatred and confusion and divisiveness. So it reminded me of the first lines of the Dhammapada, that mind is the forerunner of all things, that with our mind we make the world. If you lead with ill will, the effects of that follow you like like an ox. There's some expression, I've forgotten the line, but if you lead with love, then it follows you like a shadow. A reminder that, to me, what brought me into the Dharma to begin with was the fact that I wasn't just stuck with the habits of mind that I was conditioned to experience. I certainly had to be responsible for them and transform them and work with them, with some heal from the things that were painful, but that depending on what I do with my mind, that I'm trainable, that I can recover, that I can be free. And that classic line that I've shared a lot on Tuesday night, whatever one frequently thinks about and dwells upon becomes the inclination of the mind. And then the line that also often informs my own optimism, you could say, is that line from the person considered the founder of Tibetan Buddhism, Padmasambhava. Says, if you want to understand your past, look at your present experience, so that you actually see the fruits of what we practice. That's what we see as our mind stream. This is not in any way to be a cause of self-blame, because we're just so conditioned that it's not even that personal. And so much of our conditioning is non-personal. It's just what we've heard, what we've been taught, etc. But that part is the more of an understanding of cause and effect. But the second part of the line, he says, if you want to understand your past, look at your present experience. The second half is, if you want to understand your future, look at your present actions. That this present moment, this moment of consciousness here is a field of possibility. It's creative. And depending on whether I input hope and optimism and positivity and love and caring and generosity, if I do that, then my future present moments, my mind stream will be visited more often with those qualities, independent of outer circumstances. Not completely independent, because if I do create those wholesome forces in the mind, if I plant those seeds through body, speech, and mind, through my actions, just like Kamala and Tim today, I know that that quality of joy, that quality of caring it was like a transmission. It's palpable and it's igniting a lot of people. And it's not an accident. It's not just because of the contrast to the more negative side of politics, but it's because they're the quality of beings. And we catch it from people who have it. And so it benefits us, but it also, whatever we do, it develops merit. It's meritorious because it helps us and it helps others. So we talk every week, we give the Dana talk, it's considered meritorious because it doesn't help you, even though it gladdens your heart, it helps others. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. But smiling, whatever it is that gladdens your heart, it gladdens the world. So when I was thinking about the process of taking the teachings into our heart, the first part that the training is about is knowing the mind. It's creating those conditions. It's planting the seed of conditions that allow us to have our attention in the same place as our body. And so again and again and again, we take this scattered, confused, habitual mind, and we just keep bringing it home, bringing it back to the body, using a quality that every one of us uses every day of our life, the capacity to focus, to gather, and then to sustain that. So the teachings again and again, right from the beginning, put your mind in your body in your mind, just stay here. First foundation of mindfulness directed to the body. There's one thing, O monks, that leads to calm, to focus, to pleasant dwelling, to the heart's release, to the abandonment of the fetters that bind us. What is that one thing? Mindfulness directed to the body. Now, to know whether it's so, whether it actually has a fruit, whether it has a consequence, you have to actually do it. You can't just save it for Tuesday night. You have to walk around. It's completely 100% portable. Sit beside your body all day long, or sit inside your body. Feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. 60% every conversation have in your body. You do that, there's going to be a stilling. It's going to be a little settling. So once you've established a little bit of harmony in mind and body, knowing the mind is then paying attention to what does your mind frequently dwell upon. I love that. I forgot who it was. Is she gone already? Lori, or I forgot who it was. But she said, I know I was racing. This is such good news to know your mind. Because to know your mind becomes the springboard to wisdom and understanding. If you have some wisdom and understanding about what your mind is doing and how it affects you, then that becomes the springboard to shaping your mind, to actually inclining it toward calm, for example. If you know that your mind inclines frequently toward racing or futurizing or planning, one, we want to open to that and see that the planning mind is planning. It's not so personal. It's just the thinking mind. So that's the wisdom that can come, but also the wisdom to, I get caught in that. I follow that a lot. And so in following it, I feed it. There's a feeding. It's like a feeding frenzy of planning. And it's such a strong habit to associate my happiness with how things turn out. And I see that that's left me with a feeling of tension and worry and a sense that the future is holding all the cards for whether I'm okay or not, instead of staying here and staying awake and present be the hub around which I live my life. But unless I actually recognize that my mind inclines toward spinning, I would just be lost in it. So once I've known my mind a little, then I can start to shape it can start to reorient myself to real time. Again, portable. Even though formal practice is a wonderful thing, and especially doing it with other people, it's wherever you go, there you are. No excuses about not meditating. Meditating is just being awake to where you are, wherever you are. So once you shape your mind a little bit, again, it's a creative process of training the mind, shaping the mind, cultivating the wholesome. You can cultivate optimism, cultivate caring, cultivate compassion, cultivate positivity. If you realize that your mind inclines toward negativity, aversion, you can cultivate welcoming, cultivate goodness, cultivate harmlessness. All of that brings to this world what it needs, one person at a time. I find that very makes me feel hopeful. And that it is within each person's power because we have attention. And then once if we can know our mind and shape our mind, and then we can liberate our mind, can free ourselves from being bound in the past that doesn't even exist. We can heal, we can forgive, we can have mercy. We can heal ourselves, we can free ourselves from the future and realize that it doesn't even exist. It never arrives because time is always now. And that it's a dreamscape. So we can liberate our mind. We can liberate our mind from the ideas that our mind is stuck between our ears, and it's this little thinking machine. And we can free our mind from this sense of it being limited. We see that our mind essence is vast, like an open sky. We can free ourselves from this idea that the mind is the brain or the mind is small. I am small. Free ourselves from ideas of ourselves. An idea of ourselves is not ourselves. It's just an idea. There's no self to be found in an idea even. It's just a thought. And we can literally be free. Can free our hearts from ill will. Just I was saying that before. And feel free to love. Feel free to dance. Free in this world to not be so self-conscious. That freedom waits. It seems like the foundation for all of this is to know ourselves, is to know our tension, to know our fear, to know we can free ourselves from fear, which is often associated with past, projected on imagined future. We can free ourselves from that. We can notice that in the moment where we're not looking back and we're not looking ahead, we're just here. Where's fear? Where's the problem? So may we all know our mind. May we all shape our mind. May we all liberate our minds. And may we all be able to express, give to this beauty, give to this world all our beauty. I think of that poem from Hafez where he said, "How did the rose ever open its heart and give to this world all its beauty. It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we all remain too frightened. So let's just stoke up that light of awareness, know our mind, shape our mind, and free our minds. So thanks for listening. I think any announcements, Mary?
Yes. I just want to mention a couple of retreats, one of which just has a wait list, the Labor Day retreat.
Oh yeah, that
at
one's
Spirit Rock.
that's got hundreds of people on the waiting list.
Okay.
That one's out completely.
Okay. Founders Retreat, according to the Spirit Rock website, still has space. And that is September 9th through 14th. And it is with Howie and Sylvia Borstein and James Baraz and who else?
Maybe a cameo from Jack, but I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. But that still has space. So act quickly. And then we will have a retreat on half-day retreat on August 24th. More details next week.
Great.
There. And then of course, as Howie mentioned, looking at the joy of Donna, the joy of a generous mind. And so here's information on how to offer Donna. And really take a moment and just sort of soak in when you're feeling like being generous. It's like just soak that in and feel the goodness of it. When you get on your Venmo, feel the goodness of it. Afterwards, bask in the goodness of it. So anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks in advance for your generosity. And please feel free to generously say goodnight to each other. So don't hesitate to unmute, and nice to be with you.
You all. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Howie. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Howie.
Everyone, thank you
Beautiful
so
talk.
much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Sweet dreams.
Good night, everyone.
Great
Good
to see
day
you,
today.
David.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here. Much aloha.
Same to you.
Thank you, Howie. Beautiful talk.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank
All
you, Howie.
Marys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Mary Gold, what did you say during the sitting? I couldn't hear her. She left.
Yep, you left her.
Could
Yeah,
you
it was
hear what
hard
she
to-
said?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. She was having connection problems.
Thank you, Mary.
All right, you're welcome. Talk to you
Night,
later.
night. Talk to
All
you
right, good
soon.
night. Good night. All right, folks, shutting it down.